us about yourself. Okay, thank you. Lisa, you're on.
Good morning. I'm Lisa Motoyama. I am currently serving as your council member for El Cerrito. I'm completing my first term, and I hope that you feel that I've done a good job for El Cerrito. The main reason that I'm running again is that I feel that, the hard work that I put in the last 4 years to really help turn around our budget and fund balance and to bring us back to where we need to be as a starting point has just, you know, we've just made it. And I really would like the opportunity in the next 4 years to continue that to get us to a really strong financial footing. As your city council member and as a one-year term mayor last year, it was really just a wonderful experience seeing how people in El Cerrito really contribute to their community. So it was a real privilege. And the privilege for me to serve and make sure that things continue and are better is really why I really want to continue to do this. As a council member and as mayor, I was able to be appointed to the ABAG Executive Committee. We've had some unfortunate news about the Regional Measure 4, which would have brought affordable housing dollars to our community, but being a voice at the table will help us move forward things like our El Cerrito Plaza transit-oriented development and the library. So I think my focus is really the financial condition, stability, and long-term, good of the city. The second priority for me is moving forward that El Cerrito Plaza TOD development. And, I think as Barnali Ghosh mentioned, it's not just about having housing there, it's about activating that station and making it exciting. And I think that bringing the library to that is going to bring the, really a lot of liveliness and heart to the station. And third, making our quality of life continue to be great, focusing on climate adaptation, implementing our climate action and adaptation plan. Um, I've worked on things like making us switch from gasoline to renewable diesel, which was, a long push, but focusing our kind of procurement energy on greener choices, is something I would like to continue to do. I also want to make our city safer, and I have been pushing very hard on our police department to bring back bicycle policing of the Ohlone Greenway. And that's a concrete way of promoting both pedestrian and bicycle safety and, community safety overall. I think that's a space that really needs those extra eyes to make that more usable and more welcoming. So
Need to
I've
cut
been
you off.
endorsed by Sierra Club and the Contra Costa Building and Construction Trades Council, and many former and current council members and mayors, Senator Nancy Skinner, Treasurer Fiona Ma, and I hope lots of people in the community will support me as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. To make it fair, and then you'll all get the same question. El Cerrito is meeting their regional housing needs allocation numbers. What is your position on housing in El Cerrito? And Lisa, you like houses?
I love housing. I am a housing professional by trade. I have over 30 years in development and affordable housing finance. I have encouraged, and we did get pro housing designation for the city of El Cerrito. What that does is it made us a leader in providing affordable housing in our community and in the state. We did get grant funding for that. And further, for the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Grant Program, it gives us an extra point that you can't get any other way. So that makes us more competitive to bring affordable housing dollars to our community. As a former planning commissioner serving 2 terms, I did get to see the development that came through to El Cerrito. It's really exciting to know that the Mayfair affordable housing development will be starting soon. That is the affordable component of that development at the Del Norte BART station, which the market rate portion is already complete. So, as Rebecca mentioned, the 743 units that are coming to the El Cerrito Plaza TOD, that development is going to have 1/3 affordable to people that are very low income and low income, very low and low income, 30% for middle income, and 30% at market rate. So that will have a really nice mix of income levels, allowing us to keep our economic diversity in the city, which really is important to be for us to be welcoming, as our strategic plan is pointing out that that's a priority in our strategic plan, to be welcoming and create a sense of belonging. So I support housing very strongly. I think there's lots of opportunity for all kinds of housing development in our community. I hope that we can get our lower interest rates back so that we can encourage that development that we have entitlements for all along San Pablo Avenue, and finish that work. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. William. El Cerrito has established several reserve funds and struggled to balance the budget this year. What is your perspective on El Cerrito expenditures?
Thank you. So just to make sure that, we're talking about the general fund balance, which is roughly $16 million. I think there were some questions about what that percentage was. Our general fund balance is just below 30% of our budget for the general fund in total. And the financial plan requires 10%. The GFOA, the Government Financial Oversight and Advisory, says a minimum of 17%. So we are exceeding those general fund reserve requirements. So we're doing pretty good in that. What I think is really the challenge coming forward before us is that our revenue stream, we were really counting on a couple of things. The real property transfer tax, which comes from, is a tax upon the sale of a home. And that was going like gangbusters really during the pandemic. And so it was really providing us with a lot of revenue. And so we had some really good years that allowed us to make that general fund balance bigger. So now that has slowed down. Our expenses continue to rise. That is kind of the norm. That's not us doing something bad, but expenses like insurance, salaries, things always increase. Our revenue stream is staying kind of the same. And so this is where we really have to negotiate carefully to make sure that every dollar that we spend is really, really needed, that we don't start to dip in too much into that general fund balance. And that's the work coming forward to the council in the next 4 years, to make sure that we can hold that line to try to increase revenues, encourage business, tax base, and then try to stay steady.
Okay, thank you. El Cerrito needs to replace several of its aging buildings, including the library, public safety building, community center. What are your thoughts on capital improvements in El Cerrito?
So I think there's two components to our capital needs. So clearly, we absolutely need a new library. We need a new public safety building. We need to renovate our community center. These are older buildings that have not had, they're coming to the end of their useful life. So the other half of that approach is to make sure that we are taking into account over time what our capital needs are. So we don't have a surprise at the end of the year to say, oh my gosh, we have a roof leak. We're going to have to take money from the general fund because it's leaking. And it's like, it's true. If it's leaking, it's an emergency, we need to address it. However, if we can get to the place, and we are working on getting more facilities management, to have someone go through each of our buildings and say, what are the capital needs? How long can we, how long will it take to budget that out? How much do we need to allocate every year to make sure we have reserves specifically for capital needs? That is how we will manage our capital needs from, in the long term. We also need to replace those buildings. I strongly support the library and having a library bond or a parcel tax to make that happen, because it's going to be such a community asset. We will eventually need to do something for a public safety building. that is not an adequate building. You know, we actually took the step of purchasing a little piece of land in the smack in the middle of our property, which is the parking lot of the police station, the fire department, because one day, not today, not tomorrow, not next year, but eventually we will have to redo our public safety building, and we will need that little tiny lot in the middle of it to adequately be able to plan and create a new public safety building there. So these are all like bigger picture questions, but we need to do that. And that is how I think this is the right approach, is to look at that long-term capital needs as well as focusing on replacing buildings.
Thank you, Lisa. El Cerrito is working on the climate action plan. What is your vision on how El Cerrito can address climate change? Okay, thank you, Lisa.
So we passed the climate action and adaptation plan, and really, again, it's about implementation. We are really fortunate in El Cerrito that we have the vast majority of people in El Cerrito really care about climate action, and there's all these individual actions that can be done. As a city, this is where we can support all the infrastructure that makes green choices better. As Rebecca said, we need to get people out of their car. How do we do that? We make sure our sidewalks are repaired, the curb cuts are there, that we have the complete streets. We have the bike infrastructure that is going to make it easier. We have more bike racks, all those kinds of things, that infrastructure that the city can do to do that. The other part is procurement. I think the city, as a whole, can make better choices about buying things, using things, reusing things. And that is also an important thing that the city can do to make it greener. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. What programs or initiatives will you promote for El Cerrito? Thank you, Burton. Lisa?
So I think, the big programs, El Cerrito Plaza, transit-oriented development, and library. That's sort of number one to help move that forward. It's really important. It will bring so much life and activity to our city, and more shoppers for Plaza, more tax base. So that is exciting. I also, like I said, have been and will continue to push the police for the bicycle police along the Greenway. That's something that is going to take a while for various reasons, because we need to train our police officers as we get them, and we have a lot of new young recruits that need that training. I think that will make things better. I also want to support all the events that we are coming back towards, places where people can come together and really learn about what El Cerrito is doing, have excitement about, knowing your neighbors. National Night Out is a good example. 4th of July is a great example. So those kinds of things. Thank you. Okay. So I think having been your council member and mayor the past 4 years, one of the things that I've learned a lot in a hard way is what we can't do. But there's nothing we can't do if we continue to focus on it and push on it. And that's what I would like the opportunity to do in the next 4 years. I would like to continue to push for financial stability and the kind of quality of life that we value so much here in El Cerrito. I think, it would be really easy for me to promise all kinds of things, but I know that what we can do, what our city can do, and I think we can manage to do those things without making outlandish promises, but just to carry out the good hard work of continuing to ask good questions, to focus on it, to do our homework, and to make sure that we're taking into account what's best for El Cerrito. So in that, I would like to have your support. And more questions, www.lisaforelcerrito.com. Thank you.